I'm Mike Uyak. I love to try new things, and I've had culinary adventures all around the world as well as right at home. I've had really wonderful food, as well as some really horrible food. I'd like to share some of my adventures with you, and we'll see if I have what it takes to fix whatever goes wrong. This is Recipe Redemption. Hello, denizens of the interwebs. My name is Mike Uyak, and you're watching Recipe Redemption. On today's episode, should be a pretty quick one. Should be. So, I ran across this recipe from 1952. It's from a cookbook from the Maine Sardine Association. There was such a thing. Might still be, for that matter. I'm not sure. And like a lot of food producers, they created their own cookbook to give home cooks more ideas of how to use more of their product, obviously. So they came up with sardine buns. And it's essentially making like it's kind of like a tuna salad sandwich, except with sardines and a few other ingredients. And they chose to put it on a hamburger bun. Yeah, and it's made like this. Now this recipe makes 12 servings, so dividing all the ingredients by 12 was a bit of a challenge, but I was up for it. So I'll start off with ounce and a half of sharp cheddar cheese, about an ounce of tomato sauce, some salt, pepper, chopped olives, chopped pimento, and what you don't see because I didn't think to actually put them in a little pile of their own is some chopped onion and celery, just a couple teaspoons of each, and a quarter can of these canned sardines. Original recipe uses 3 cans, 1/12 of that is a quarter can. And it says to combine and mix thoroughly, so I'm assuming they mean that the sardines need to be kind of broken up as they are mixed in. Now all that is left to do is to put these on a hamburger bun. Now the original recipe calls for unsplit hamburger buns that you then cut 3/4 of the way through, and you'll see why in a moment. I didn't have that, so we're just going to do the best we can. Get all of the filling that I can onto this hamburger bun, and then we're going to put it into another one of these bowls as my oven-safe dish. You're supposed to arrange them cut side up and bake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. It's just enough time to melt everything, kind of crisp up the bun a bit. And I'm just going to put it upright as much as I can here. And here it is. Now, it's slumped a bit as we expected, being baked on its side. As the ingredients, especially, there's a cheese melted, and just gravity being a harsh mistress anyway, all of the toppings wanted to kind of slough down to the bottom, which is probably why they wanted you to take an unsplit bun and cut it only 3/4 of the way through, so it makes sort of like a hoagie roll or a taco. To hold all the fillings in. Now most of it stayed in. There's just a little bit of it plopped out when I pulled it out of the baking bowl that I had it in. But it does mean that well, not too bad. So some of it is more of it is on one than the other. So you have just this little sliver right here at the upper end. Where there is no filling. And I let it go a little long, so it is just a bit more Cajun on that end. I don't know. Doesn't smell too offensive. Now, it's mostly cheese, really. I'm actually kind of glad that in proportion you don't use a whole lot of sardine in this, because that sardine flavor is quite strong. It is quite predominant. Surprisingly, well, pimento isn't very strong. The olives aren't very strong. Celery certainly isn't all that strong. So really the only thing to compete against that strong oily fish of the sardine is the cheese, and it's just adding more fat to it. It's a little gushy. That hot cheese does want to squish everywhere. There's a little bit of a balance, salt wise and everything, with the tomato sauce. It does give it a little bit fruitier and vegetal, as well. You know, the celery, I mean, it gives it a little bit, but yeah. It's not bad, to be honest. It's perfectly edible. Um, that texture, though, it wants to squish out from the sandwich with every bite. It gives you kind of a sloppy Joe sort of vibe to it. It's not bad. Um, I think I would like it if the texture were just a little different. And I think I know how to do that. First part of this idea is improving the texture. And I'm going to do that by deep frying my sardines. You can set up a standard penne station. My flour has some salt, some cayenne pepper, and that's pretty much it. And I have some beaten egg on the side here. And just gently using this fork, since the fillets are small and I've got giant 8 fingers, just going to do the standard practice, bread these, tap them off or shake off the excess flour as well as I can, dip into the egg until it's completely coated on all sides, and then back into the flour before deep frying. And into the oil they go. Fairly shallow. I didn't want to waste oil. Since I'm only making one sandwich here, I didn't want to have a whole bunch of oil to throw away. So they're going to be more like pan fried, which is fine. Just a couple minutes on each side. I mean, these are ready to eat anyway, so really it's just cooking the breading. In the meantime, I need to make myself a nice sauce. I got the rest of the olives and chopped red pepper from the previous recipe, adding some salt, some garlic powder, and onion powder to this. There we are. Along with another dash of cayenne pepper and an egg yolk. And I broke the yolk in separating the egg, so I'm going to have to kind of squeegee that out. There we go. Put the top on and blitz this for a moment just to combine them well. And then taking a chance here, but hopefully I'm going to be making a nice emulsified sauce here by adding some oil now and a little more oil later and blitzing it up. And hopefully the violence of my food chopper will be enough to emulsify this and my sauce won't break. Okay, yes, my bun got a little bit toastier than I wanted, but whatever. Spread my sauce. This is sort of halfway between a remoulade and a tapenade, since I got the olives in there. In retrospect, I could have added some of the tomato as well, and it would have been almost like a Thousand Island, but it's fine. In any case, I'm adding my fried sardine fillets as best I can. And atop this, a slice of American cheese. American cheese is the best cheese for a burger because it melts without splitting. Or so I've heard. Top with the other bun, and the residual heat should be enough to melt the cheese. And behold, the filet-o sardine sandwich. I let the bun toast a little too long. So the bread is surprisingly robust. I will say, once you get past that, the fish is still tender, but it is still, because we're keeping them in discrete fillets and breading them, they hold together better. They do have more of a meatier texture. I think the sauce needs more. It's kind of getting lost in this. So I could probably amp up the flavor a bit. Incorporate some of the tomato sauce from the original. More spices than just the garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. More cayenne, definitely, because I'm not getting any kick at all out of this. But the flavor of the sardines is actually a little bit more subdued. Yeah. It's nowhere near as strong. So you do end up with a little bit, well, discounting the Uber bun, you do end up with more of like a filet of fish sandwich out of this. Matter of fact, instead of the sauce that I made, you could just use some tartar sauce, and it would work just fine. The cheese is actually holding everything in place, even though I had all the small little fillets sort of stacked log cabin style on there. They're not really escaping the sandwich. I think this is, we'll say it's a lateral move. Maybe a slight improvement on the original sardine bun. I think the texture is a lot better. I think the flavor, it's a lot less, fishy in your face. And so it's, I guess, would appeal to a wider audience. We'll put it that way. The texture I like a lot better because the filling is not trying to escape with every bite and threatening to ruin your shirt or whatever. So yeah, we'll call it an improvement, but not quite perfected just yet. But what do you think? Would you eat sardines on a sandwich? Have you eaten a sardine on a sandwich? I actually have, but it was just a sort of spur of the moment snack idea that I had, and I happened to have some bread and sandwich makings, but no other protein besides sardines. So pop open the can of sardines and put it on a sandwich. Why not? Little did I know that others had actually done it before me and actually recommended that other people do it. I eat things because, well, I eat things. Never expecting that anyone else would actually like some of the things that I come up with. but perhaps you do. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. As always, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications, and share with all your friends and family. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Recipe Redemption. Bye now.